Very cool. Okay.
Podcasting.
This is going to be fun. This is going to be great fun. She'll like that.
Yeah.
Time to wake up. So you eat and have a place to stay. Your mama goes to work, your daddy takes a turn at night.
I'm Jay Gilday, and you're listening to Clock In, a podcast from eCamp, the Edmonton City's Museum project. Each episode, we help people talk to their parents about the work they did when they were younger, to learn how working life has changed here in Edmonton. On this episode, Shima and Elsa.
I'm Chris Chang-Phillips, producer here on the show. Our journey today starts outside, learning about the echoes that this week's guest sees between her work and her mom's.
What was your first job?
My first job was technically delivering flyers.
Hey, I deliver flyers.
Yeah. Two of a kind. No, delivering flyers when I was 12 years old. First job.
This is Shima Robinson, and I've known her for a while, but I find it hard to sum up what she does. Like a lot of artists, she does, a little bit of everything. She served as Edmonton's 10th Poet Laureate. She performs spoken word poetry under the name Dwennimen.
I'm a owner of a sole proprietorship called Dense Verse Publishing and Production. It is geared towards subcontracting as a producer and publishing my own work as a poet.
I can't wait. And we're going to talk to your mom, Elsa Robinson.
Yes.
And I guess I want to know... we're all a little bit of product of our parents, and I feel like that gets reflected in the way we choose the work that we do and the way that our attitudes towards work. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Is there something about your mom that you want to find out about her work history, or is there something that you see reflected from her work history?
What I'd like to find out about her work history perhaps would be about transitions. She has done so many different jobs in my recollection, which is of course not the complete, of course. Even during my lifespan, it was always just that she was, and remains, a very stalwart and reliable human being, and I know, in the early days of my life, that was difficult. She was a single mom, and she kept jobs, and she did different types of work that informed her current role as a local artist, as a very skilled artist, in visual arts, sculpture, etc., collage design, etc. But she was a teacher, so I would love to talk to her about how that all informed itself, that whole career over the 40 years of my life. How did that inform itself?
Our parents have lives of their own, which is something that doesn't become clear until you're an adult.
Yes.
But, I'm excited to talk to you guys a bit more about the things that you both do.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's very, very in depth. My sense of it, my sense of what my mother does, is constantly growing, and she's surprising me in many ways all the time, with her capacity to be masterful at things. Some things I just didn't know she could do. Yeah. You know what I mean? And now I'm like, oh wow, she knows how to do that. She can carve stone. I didn't know that. And I feel like careers of employment do include careers of education, and she's done so much education, taken so many degrees and so on, and training, and I think that leads to some curiosity and some questions that are more about, like how how is that accomplished?
Well, we're gonna get into it, and I've seen a little bit of her work, and I've seen a lot of your work, and I can't wait to see why it all happened and who you guys are a little bit more. So thanks for joining us.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Merci.
Should I just sit here or sit?
Elsa was kind enough to meet Shima and I in studio at CJSR, the radio station on campus at the University of Alberta.
Right now? Hello, my name is Elsa Robinson. I'm a multidisciplinary artist with a focus in visual arts.
Mm-hmm. And welcome to Clock In. I love the way artists introduce themselves. There's always a bit of a.
So what am I doing?
So your brain is going through your mind, thinking of what don't I do?
Yeah,
Yes.
What pieces do I put?
Yeah, because as an artist, I know we all have to be our own business proprietors, and we have to be our own grant writers, and we have to find our and keep our heart within it the whole time.
Yeah.
So I know Shima quite well. Elsa, I don't know you that well. I've seen some of your art, and I really am excited to learn a little bit more about what's influenced you over the years. Do you want to just tell me when you first started doing art?
Okay, so the first time I did art, well, I've been doing art since I was in elementary school, yeah. And my favorite things in elementary school were when we had to write a composition or a poem, and then I could put a drawing to it. And then I used to do these drawings, and I knew, how the Egyptian drawings are with the body facing one way and the face facing. Yeah, I used to draw like that. And at the time, I thought it was really cool. And so, yeah, that's officially when. And then, we had paints at home, so I'd always sort of play with paints. And my mom used to love to collect dried plants or pick up plants and then dry them and make floral arrangements. So that's another part of the art that I used to do. And then when I was about 13, I made my first collage, which was from found materials. I found a leaf with all the veins, and then there was a piece of wood, and there was, other things, and I made this collage and got third place in a art competition at school, and I was disappointed it was only third place because I thought I deserved a first place for something so unique. So yeah, and then on and on and on, yeah.
On she goes. So you were born in Toronto? Is that
I was
correct?
born in Toronto. My parents, my two older siblings, and my parents moved to Toronto from England, and my sister and I were born in Toronto. I'm the youngest of three, and then we moved to Edmonton, and my dad was a lecturer at University of Alberta for about a year and a half, and then we moved back to Jamaica because both parents are Jamaican.
Shima, are there? Can I ask about your connection to Jamaica? Have you been to Jamaica?
Yes.
What kind of things have you taken from that history?
Let's see. I have a deep readership of historical oratory and the lore of, let's say, warfare of Jamaica. I guess I've read several books on. Not several books, but I've owned several books that I haven't gotten all the way through on any of the Maroons. He was a warlord who was also an emancipatory force in Jamaica during the end of slavery, I would say, like in the latter years of slavery in Jamaica. It's not what I take every time I go there. I've been there about 5 times in the last 10 years, 12 years, maybe. When I go to Jamaica, I identify with the land really closely. I find it very familiar. I identify with the pride of the people. This idea of there's a way of doing things. We do it in a particular way. There's a we to that. It's not just I'm tourist and I sit here or whatever. And I identify with the water of the ocean. I like to be in the ocean somewhat tentatively because it's kind of scary. But
we should all respect the ocean. Let's be clear about that.
It's a whole thing. But I like where the water meets the land. That's a whole thing for me. Shoals and just that symbiosis of worlds colliding and stuff like that. So yeah, and then the language and the wildlife and and the rock formations and the jokes. I love it there. It's good there.
I wonder if I can ask you. I know what it's like to be an artist and also be a parent. Yeah. I wonder if you have any memories or specific instances of it being challenging to have an artist for a parent. I've only been on the parent side of things. I've never what it's like to have an artist as a parent.
I think so. I think it has been. There are perks, of course, huge perks. Mm-hmm. Having an artist mom, you get to go to the AGA and be swanky. Swank it up for the AGA. But I mean, beyond that, I get to see the studio. I get to see the work in progress. I get to talk to my mother about things that have to do with the art that she makes. I get to ask a lot of very process-based questions about that art that most people wouldn't actually get a chance to engage with. In terms of the process and how it's developing, I get to explain and help to explain certain aspects of that as her daughter, as we show up together in public places as kind of a powerhouse team of artists. Our family's all artists. So there are a few downsides. I don't think there is a downside, actually. I don't think I can name one. Especially because I myself am an artist, and that I think plays into it, of course, very deeply. I think it's been lovely getting to know the visual art world through that particular lens of being the daughter of someone who's doing so well there in what they're in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Elsa, I was talking with my producer Chris earlier about how I have a relationship with my parents about how they don't necessarily sit me down and say and give me advice. Like when you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't necessarily get that moment where you sit down and say, "Hey son, hey daughter, this is when you're going forward in your life. This is something you should keep in mind." Quite often, they lead by example. Was there a time that you felt like you should actually sit Shima down and give her some advice?
Yes,
all the time.
All the time.
Every time.
That's kind of my MO, part of how I operate with my kids. Yeah, I will advise, and especially, Shima's poetry career kind of started almost the same time as my art career because, so we're not too far apart in that sense. But there are times when I will give Shima advice, about sort of how to move forward or what direction I think she could take or what kinds of directions I think she could take at this point. And, and sometimes she gives me advice, and that's a really nice thing in our relationship is that we can speak with each other. I actually did a collage about that. I did a painting about that. It's called Mother and Daughter. And it is two women, and they're both holding a little vial covered in what looks like pearls. But you can't tell which is which from the image. It just looks like two women. And that's how I feel about my relationship with Shima, is that we are sometimes she's leading me, sometimes I'm leading her, because she has different experiences that bring a certain type of wisdom to me. And vice versa. So, and one thing I learned though is that, it's all well and good for me to have an opinion, and then I have to shut up and let Shima do whatever she wants to do with her life. You know, she's not 6 years old, you know.
Okay, now we have
And
her
that's
recorded saying
exciting.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, remember this show?
Yeah. But it's exciting, though. It's still exciting. Mm-hmm.
You know, going through life as an artist, you know, I've always had a day job, just a job to keep the bills rolling, and then which will give me the time to make art and the resources to make art. Have you had to have Elsa? Have you had to have just a day job to keep things going while you're
definitely.
art?
Yeah, because the thing is, it's a long story, but anyways, I've always wanted to be an artist. And then when I was coming to Edmonton, or returning to Edmonton, because we used to live here before. So when I was returning to Edmonton on the way to the airport, my mom said, "Oh, you can do your art career now." And I was like, no, I can't, because I have kids, because I have responsibilities, because this is, whatever. And so I came to Edmonton and decided to return to teaching, because I was a teacher before in Jamaica. And that was, at the end of the day, that lasted about 5 years. It was good to have the degree, though. But the actual experience of teaching here in Edmonton was bittersweet, and the cultural shift was just, for me, was just overwhelming, I think, in the end. And so at that time, I hadn't started my art career yet. So it took some years to sort of get to the point where I just said, okay, I'm going to start my art career. So then at that time, yes, I still had a day job. And up until about 3-4 years ago, but up until about 4 years ago, yeah, I had to. Mm-hmm.
Did you have any sort of throughout that time? Did you have any mentors or influences that you came into contact with when you moved to Edmonton? Or did you have someone to look up to as far as art goes?
No one at all. I just made a decision. That's my personality. But what I did, once I made a decision, I found art shows to put my work in, and then I went and volunteered because I'd heard about Harcourt House. And so I went and attended one of their AGMs, and then I volunteered to sit on the board. And so I started to meet artists just in those meetings and just through there, and very, very slowly got into sort of like into the art community now. It just very slowly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting that art sort of exists sort of within us in a, it's always great to collaborate with people, but at the same time, there's this piece of you inside that is kind of indestructible.
Yeah.
And regardless of what you have to do in your life, there is something inside of you that exists that you want to express. Have your artistic endeavors crossed paths ever? Like, have you ended up broaching some of the same topics at the same time?
Same topics? Probably not. But same stages? Yes.
One, twice.
Thrice, maybe?
What stage
Paper
did you...
Ship?
Oh, right. Yes. Most recently. Yeah, go ahead.
So there's a production that a local choreographer and instructor here at U of A named Erica Awa is staging a production of a show called Paper Ship, which is about, it's about so many things, but it deals with transatlantic voyage or the impacts thereof on people who were enslaved from Africa. It deals with ways of approaching the topic. It's quite a heavy piece, but we've both been in it in the last 2 years.
So you were in it as actors, as orators?
I was an orator for the changing of the scenes. Mm-hmm. So each scene there's a preamble or a prelude by me to say that this is the new topic or new direction it's being taken in, and then my mom. Well, go ahead.
I was dancing.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, is that how? Okay, you dance. I
do.
didn't even know.
Yeah, I do. Lots of people didn't know.
Is it? Do you bring traditional elements into it, or is it of your own making?
Yeah, it's traditional. So the paper ship comprises traditional dance from Jamaica and then from the continent, more specifically Ghana, West Africa. So the choreographer, there's a whole choreography and thing. And so I have a particular character, at least, my character changes throughout the production, but initially I'm a queen mother and I have to dance as that. And then after that I am just a person in the community. And then after that I am Queen Nanny of the Maroons, a similar personality and a warrior leader of the revolution. Yes,
I love that.
It's
that's well cast in my opinion.
Yeah. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite show or performance of each other's that you've seen?
I think your grad show in Vermont was my favorite.
Yeah.
Thus far. If I had seen the next with the tree and the cave, and I probably would have loved that, but I didn't get to see it, so I'm like, oh, it's okay. I was ill at the time. It's okay. I'll see it again.
What spoke to you about that show, the grad show?
The grad show. The grad show. Well, it is a soft sculpture installation that is it seems to be about presence and balance to me. Like, it seems to me that that's what it's about in terms of like there's a monotone, there's a monochromatic, not monotone, monochromatic, but it's a color system that there are five figures facing one another at like human height, 6 foot, all draped in dyed jute and various other material. Each is a certain color, which does this monochrome feeling of like, the color is very significant. Pay attention to the color. And it's green and blue and yellow and white and red. And I found it very calming. It was the actual physical effect of walking into the area where they had it exhibited at Vermont College of Fine Arts.
Yep, Vermont College of Fine Arts.
And I walked into the center of this installation, which is quite imposing if you think about like the size of it, like taller than me, some of those pieces. And then, I'm just standing there and thinking, this is about confluence. So confluence and specificity of inspiration, or a specificity of source of energy, source of creative force. Like it was very impactful to me to go there specifically and see that piece. And also because I hadn't seen any of the soft sculpture work that my mother would do. I hadn't seen that in full bloom or full regalia or whatever we would say about that. So then that would be the one that I think is most impactful to me. Yeah.
For me, wow. I think it was the performance you did at U of A. It was the book, the second book.
Bellow.
Yeah. I knew the performance of Bellow at U of A.
Oh, at Convocation Hall.
Convocation Hall. Thank you.
Yes.
And it was. Oh, I was speechless. It was amazing. The poetry, and then she was accompanied by musicians, and it was all just intuitive. Their response to her work and the whole thing, and it just left me speechless. It was fantastic. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've actually spent quite a few nights seeing Shima in various open mics and performances, and quite often in very informal settings.
Yeah.
And actually, that's I know for myself as an artist, I actually kind of love to live in that space. That's the space where you're not necessarily there for a scheduled performance, where you just, sometimes you're actually being ignored by some of the audience, but you end up giving some of the best work of your life. I've seen some words spout out of your mouth, Shima, that have been just gorgeous and really, really telling to the times around us and the world around us. And Elsa, I hope to see more of your work. I haven't had a chance to tour a lot of your stuff, so and I'll be following you in the near future. Mm-hmm. Well, here in Edmonton and Alberta, we need all the access to beauty and grace that we can get. Mm-hmm. So Elsa and Shima, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Clock In podcast.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
That's it for this episode of Clock In, presented by eCamp, the Edmonton City as Museum project, an initiative of the Edmonton Heritage Council. It's recorded on Treaty 6 territory in Amiskwitchi, Waskigan. Clock In was produced by Joe Hartfile and Chris Chang-Yen Phillips. Our researcher is Kathy Roy. Artwork and design by Mike Kendrick and Raffaello Loro. Music for this show was produced by Blue Dot Sessions and myself, Jay Gilday. On the next episode of Clock In, beef stroganoff and Persian music. Sanya and Naz Galadar tell us about his time running an iconic local restaurant, Teddy's. New episodes of Clock In come out every Tuesday. You can find them in the eCamp podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. You can hear all of our episodes on the eCamp website, citymuseumedmonton.ca. We're going to be doing an Edmonton Trivia Night at Teddy's on November 18th, featuring stories from Clock In. And I'll be there with my guitar playing a few songs. Come on down and join us. You can see more details and pictures from each episode by following eCamp on Instagram and Facebook at YEG City Museum. I've been your host, Jay Gilday.